What's up, everybody? Today I'm coming at you with my level 1 deck profile for April 2020. This is a deck I've been playing, I think, for 3 years now. I've uploaded it previously to the channel. I've made some minor tweaks. Now that we're in Master Rule 5, the deck is so much more enjoyable to play because you can actually get out more than one XYZ monster. So yeah, let's go into it. So obviously it can't be a level 1 deck without Mystic Piper. These are still pretty expensive because it's only been printed once as a secret. Mystic Piper is obviously your main go-to out of the deck that when in doubt, you want a Piper, and he'll trip himself to draw a card, and if it's a level 1 monster, you get to draw again. He's your draw power, and he's your main target that you're always resurrecting or searching for or whatever. And the fact that he's a spellcaster and a light is a big deal. Next, we play 3 Jester Confit. Jester Confit is a free special summon, and he's a spellcaster, and he's a level 1. That's the main reason why he's in here. You can only control one at a time, and that's it for that. 3 Guiding Light. Guiding Light, when it's normal summon, you can special summon a level 1 light monster in your graveyard. We have a lot of targets. I'll get into the rest of them, but Piper's obviously the main one. Yeah, and obviously you can use this for XYZ plays, or you can just Piper if you had to do that. We play Triple Effect Veiler. We want to stop our opponent. And Veiler obviously is easily searchable in this deck. It's a tuner. Not that that really matters. Like, you can play a Formula Synchron in this deck. I don't. But if you want an extra draw, you can do that. The problem with playing Formula in this deck is you don't have enough high-level monsters in the deck at all to make anything worthwhile with that. That's why I just don't even bother playing it. But if you want to, you can. But yeah, Veiler, good card. Obviously, the fact that you can get like 2 to 3 Veilers in your hand and like your opponent really, their monster effect just gets shut down. And it doesn't hurt you at all. Because we have enough firepower with our deck. 3 Sage of Eyes of Blue. This searches the Veiler. I believe Veiler's the only level 1 light tuner we're playing it besides itself because he can't search himself. But once again, level 1 light and a spellcaster, big deal. So if you're keeping track, Piper's a spellcaster, Veiler's a spellcaster, Jester Confit's a spellcaster, Sage is a spellcaster. We'll keep going. The tech that I play in here that I don't see any other level 1 deck playing, the 3 Raid Raptor Lastrix. Lastrix is a cool card. You can trib him, special summon any Raid Raptor you want out of your extra deck, any XYZ Raid Raptor. It comes out with no material. Your opponent can't take battle damage for the rest of the turn. Keyword battle damage. They can still take effect damage. And yeah, he is such a busted card. I don't get it. This card, I don't want to say it breaks the game, but it's just like, it's such... The only way they balance it is to prevent the battle damage, but it's still like, it's not a fair... I feel like it's not a fair balance because I feel bad for my opponent sometimes doing this. But great card. And obviously easily searchable. We can get it out pretty easily. Triple Evil Thorn, because this is a 1-card rank 1. And it can burn them for 300. That's great, but it's a 1-card rank 1. That's the main reason why we like it. 3 Winkaribo. So Winkaribo, I changed this since the last time I uploaded the profile. I just wanted to have a little bit more fun and see what I could throw into this deck, and I'm using Winkaribo, and I'll get into what the rest I'm using it, but he's still level 1. He's a light monster, so we can bring him back with Guiding Light and other things. The fact that he's a fairy doesn't really do anything, but yeah. And I just want to say something. I took the Chaos stuff out. I took the BLSs out to make room for other stuff, but you can easily just run Chaos, Envoy the beginning. You could run Chaos Envoy Dragon, like Envoy the end. Like, you could run whatever. You could Chaos Dragon Levy in here. You can run whatever you want in here because this deck is all light and dark. So I don't believe we play anything in the main deck that's not a light and dark. New card that I used to run in here way back when I started making the deck, and I had to take it out because of Master Rule 4 because Konami was retarded back then. But thank God they've unfuck themselves, and now I can play 3 Curry Volt, and what Curry Volt does is during your main phase, you can target a XYZ monster you control, detach material from it, and then summon another one of these out of your deck. So basically, we have a lot of special summons in this deck, and if you can like bring something back and then you haven't used your normal summon yet, you can normal summon Curry Volt, or because this is a level 1 light, you could bring this back from your graveyard with Guiding Light or other stuff, and then he could detach and yeah, do the damn thing. He's a good card, and the fact that he's not a once per turn, so you can just keep doing, like, like if you wanted to detach another material when you got the second one out, you could easily do that. So it's a good card. 3 Kinkabayo. Kinkabayo, when it's normal summon, you can bring back a level 1 level 1 monster from your graveyard. At the end phase, he'll return to your hand. Most of the time, you're using for an XYZ play, so it's not that bad. The other thing is if he leaves the field and the monster that he brought back is still on the field, that monster will be banished, I believe. But that usually never happens. We're always like making sure that it's just a rule. You never use the card. You never use him as material if you're not going to use the card that he brought back or trib the card. Usually you can bring back Piper, trib the Piper, then he'll still be good and he'll just be doing his thing. But you can bring back whatever you want with this guy. That's what makes him great. And then, okay, so the 2 ofs for monsters, we play 2 Relinquished. So because obviously you can trib any monster in the deck to fulfill his summoning requirements is really nice. And guess what? He is also a spellcaster, and that's another reason why we play him. Relinquish is a great card, an underrated card. Can suck up, anything. Can only be equipped to 1 monster at a time. But remember, your opponent takes any battle damage that you would take while this card has something equipped to it, which is really nice. It can suck up face-down monsters. That's also nice, too. Occasionally, you'll have your opponent on the run, and they want to cower and set something, and you can just suck it up. Yeah, it's a great card. 1-ofs. Play 1 Treeborn Frog. I don't think the last time that I uploaded, I think I was playing one, but it's a nice 1-of. You could search it for 1/1, or you could wear Arthal and just play it, and then once that's in your graveyard, we don't really set any spells and traps. There's one spell that we might set every now and again. I'll show it later. But for the most part, you'll always have the ability to just bring this back from the graveyard. So this is obviously your what you want to detach the most. But yeah, Treeborn's a good 1-of. I mean, you could always take it out, try something else, whatever, but I'm trying it. 1 DD Crow. This is a staple in the deck because of the rank 1 that they made a couple years ago that lets you search this. If anyone that doesn't know, DD Crow, during either player's turn, you could discard it and then banish a card out of your opponent's graveyard. It's a good card. Like I said, I mean, it's great to have. I don't think you really need to run any more than a 1-of, but you could if you want to. The last 1-of is a monster, Winkaribo level 10. Yeah, I put this in here. Like I said, I wanted to add some spice. So this is the spice that we're talking about. And the cool thing is, the card to get this out, Transcendent Wings, which I'll get to in a second, you can set your Winkaribo and the Transcendent Wings. Your opponent doesn't know what you're playing, and then when they attack, all you need to do is get them into their battle phase. Once they're in the battle phase, you got them. And for anyone that doesn't know, this thing, you can trib it during the battle phase, and it will blow up every attack position monster your opponent controls, and whatever their attack points were, that gets dealt to them as damage out of their life points. All their attack position monsters. Really good card. The whole thing with this deck is you want to make sure you don't draw it. I mean, you could play it still out of your hand with the Transcendent Wings, but we do play another card that you kind of have to worry if this gets... We play Pod Desires. And if you banish Winkaribo level 10 with Pod Desires, there goes that strategy. But we don't dedicate too many cards to that strategy. I think it's only 7, so it's not that big of a deal. Okay, for the spell cards, play triple Wear Arthal. Wear Arthal is staple for a level 1 deck. If you control a level 1 monster, add 1 level 1 monster from your deck to your hand. And then after you play this card, if you did not normal summon that card or a card with that name, you take 2,000 damage at the end phase. Not really a big deal because, to be honest with you, like if you're wanting to search a Veiler or something to stop your opponent, that could be worth the 2,000 damage. If you ask like most people that were playing competitively, would you be willing to sacrifice 2,000 life points to just search a Veiler? I think most people are like, sure, because that's just a monster negate that can protect you. Most of the time, we're either doing that or we're searching like a Jester Confit to get a free special summon, or if you already have a monster in the field and you haven't normal summoned yet, Piper's always a great option. Or if you have Piper in your graveyard, you could do Kinkabayo or Guiding Light, either one. Great card. Okay, triple Transcendent Wings, and I had to get the ulti because you have to. Look at that beautiful. It's probably one of the best artworks I think ever. But Transcendent Wings is what you use to get out level 10 Winkaribo, and the way you do that, like I said, you have to have a Winkaribo either face up or face down on the field, and then you pitch 2 cards out of your hand, especially on Winkaribo level 10 from hand or deck. Like I said, hand or deck. If it's banished, then you're screwed, but it's not that big of a deal. Like we said, it happens. I think the Pod Desires are worth it, but we'll get to that. So the triple Phantom Knights rank up Magic Launch. Thank God they brought this card back. I was so pissed when they banned this card instead of like... Because Azathoth was getting to run free for a little bit because they were like, oh, that's the problem. It's like, yeah, they actually realized that people played this card in a deck that had nothing to do with Azathoth. And they're like, okay, you guys are probably right. So they finally unfucked themselves and reversed that. And now we can play 3 of this again. And yeah, it's a staple for the deck, in my opinion, the way I run it. Because with your Raid Raptor Lastrix, to anyone who didn't see my last video, I'll just show them right now. Your rank up cards, so I'm running 3 Magic Skip Force as well. Your rank up cards are basically like how you're getting a lot of your plays. Anyone that knows rank 1s, you know you can get out like, Utopic Dragon if you go overlay. If you discard a rank up card with a Utopia monster, you can get out Utopic Dragon. We're obviously doing that. So, and then with that Raid Raptor Lastrix, that works with either one of these cards. So, if you wanted to go into a Raid Raptor XYZ, you can do this. If you wanted to go into a generic Dark XYZ monster with that, you can. Yeah. So, by the way, so the Magic launch says that if you control Dark XYZ monster with no materials, you activate this and then go 1 rank higher out of your extra deck, and that's what you do. Obviously, our Raid Raptor Lastrix summons stuff without materials. And then the Skip Force just says you target a Raid Raptor XYZ monster, then summon something with 2 ranks higher than that. I do always sometimes forget about the Graveyard effect, which says during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, banish this card and 1 Raid Raptor monster from your graveyard. You could either pick like the low XYZ monster that you got out with this thing with your original Lastrix, or you could do Lastrix itself and banish it. And then you get to target a Raid Raptor XYZ monster in your graveyard, special summon it. What's cool about that is this card, it is treated as like a proper XYZ summon basically. So like if whatever you get out with this, if it goes away the next turn, you can use this card to bring it back out. Yeah, so that's pretty good. It won't have material on it, but it's whatever. Okay. You guys already saw this, but it's whatever. The triple Flute of Summoning Karibo. So Flute of Summoning Karibo just does what it says it does. You can either add Wing Karibo from deck to hand or special summon it. I don't play regular Karibo in here. I just only play Wing Karibo. But you're not, to my knowledge, I don't think I'd ever not summon it to the field. You just do that. But what this engine does as far as playing Wing Karibo, aside from the fact of just being able to play that Wing Karibo level 10, burn your opponent for a lot, the main thing it's doing is just, hey, this card equals a free special summon for a level 1 that you can use for XYZs, and then, like we said, you could always bring back Wing Karibo from your graveyard if you needed to for the Transcendent Wings play. So, like I said, I've been saying the whole time, we play Triple Pod Desires. It's a 60-card deck with mostly everything we're playing at 3. There's a handful of things that we're not running at 3, but at the end, like I said, not too big of a deal, whatever you banish. The Wing Karibo level 10 is about the only thing that I'm like, dang, I banished it, but it's not the end of the world. And if you had the money, you could always bump Wing Karibo level 10 to 2 or 3. I just didn't really want to drop that amount of coin on him because he wasn't a cheap card. But yeah, the Pod Desires, I would never take this card up just because, like I said, you're running 60 cards. There's so much crap to get through, and, no one card is all that important to you. Now, I will say, if you got rid of 3 of something, I mean, it would alter your strategy a little bit depending on what. If you got rid of 3 Mystic Piper, that just means your basic draw engine's gone, but whatever. So I play 2 pre-preps. This is obviously to search the Relinquished and to search the Black Illusion Ritual. I love the original, the hollows for Black Illusion Ritual that came out of Magic Ruler way back in the day. But, yeah, pre-prep can search a ritual monster from deck or graveyard. Remember that? So if Relinquished is in your graveyard, whether you had to, discard it or, whatever you had to do, yeah, you could always possibly get that back. One-ofs, we play a 1/1 for 1 because it's at 1. Great card, lets you get any monster basically out of the deck onto the field. So we get Piper with that. We get Lastrix with that. Evil Thorn if you want to do a 1-card rank 1. Wing Karibo if you had the whole setup for that with Transcendent Wings. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do with that. The 1 Magicalized Fusion. So I believe last time I did the deck profile, I do not believe that this card was out. I think I was waiting for it. But Magicalized Fusion, great card. So you can fusion someone's spellcaster fusion monster reaction deck by banishing this fusion materials listed on it from field or graveyard. So this is a Dragon's Mirror, but for spellcaster fusions. This is a great card, and there's only 1 card that we're using with this, and I'll show that here in a second. You could actually do this if you threw Thousand Eyes Idol into the deck. I just haven't done that, but if you did that, you could get out another fusion monster that we play. But the main thing about the fusion monster, which we'll get to, different names. That's important. If you really want to get the full use of the card, you want different names, which we are playing. And then 1 instant fusion to get out the fusion monster that we're talking about. So the extra deck. 1000 Eyes Restrict. So 1000 Eyes Restrict, basically what you do, obviously, is you play instant fusion, get them out, suck up one of your opponent's monsters, then overlay with them. And like I said, key thing, Spellcaster. Another Spellcaster that gets used for Quintet Magician, the guy that we... It's not like I built the deck to get him out, but when I noticed the cards that you generally play in the deck, The Mystic Pipers and the Jester Comfits were already in the deck to begin with. The Sage with Eyes of Blue and Effect Veilers were already in the deck to begin with. So I'm like, okay, if I'm already playing those, I was already wanting to play Relinquish anyway. That's 5 spellcasters right there. Thousand Restrict makes 6. Yeah, and I think that's all of them. And I'm like, he's actually really, really easy to get out. And then I put something else in the extra deck to kind of ensure that you could always get the 5th spellcaster you need. But so he has to be fusion summoned with 5 spellcasters. If you use 5 different names, he gets to blow up all your opponent's cards whenever he comes out. And then he can't be tributed and he can't be destroyed by card effects. And he can't be used as fusion material. So no super polys, no Lair of Darkness stuff, no kaijus, and can't be popped. So they're going to have to kill this thing by battle, which means that once you get this thing out, he ain't leaving. And that's a great thing. And like I said, I only play Magical Eyes Fusion at 1. You could play it at 2, I suppose, if you wanted to. That's another card that I was talking about with Pod Desires. If you banish that, well, there goes this guy that you're getting out. But it is what it is. So the rank ones, I play 1 Lyrilusk Recital Starling. So you could play this at 2 possibly, but for the most part, I only ever need to like get this out once. She can boost something by like 600 attack whenever she comes out. Generally, I mean, you want something else on the field to boost up. And then her main effect is detach, search a level 1 Winged Beast from deck to hand. That's DD Crow, which we play at 1 of. And then Lastrix generally is what you're getting with that. And Lastrix kind of is what makes the deck go around and function, I would say. The thing I added to the extra deck recently, Slacker Magician. Really why is because it's a spellcaster. But you also can use it kind of as a wall because it can't be destroyed by battle. And then I believe if your opponent would try to target it, you can just detach and negate and destroy the card that's trying to target it. So it's pretty good. And like I said, because it can't be destroyed by battle, once per turn it can't be destroyed by battle. It's a good wall if you had no other real play to go into. But generally, I don't know, for us, like you usually always kind of have a better play that you only got to, but it's an option. I'm only playing 1 Utopia Roots. I really only think you need 1 at this point. You could play 2 if you didn't like the rest of the stuff I'm playing in the extra deck, but we only use him. You can use him to negate attacks if you absolutely had to. Like if you were waiting on a rank up card that you thought you were going to draw in the next turn, you could, I guess, could get this guy out because he can detach to negate an attack. But yeah, the main reason we use him is for XYZ fodder. Sylvan Princess Sprite, she is a really good card. You can detach material and excavate the top card. If it's a spell or trap, add it to your hand. We play a lot of spell cards, so that goes off a lot. If it's not a spell card, then you get to, get the card just gets sent to the graveyard. It's whatever. I mean, sometimes that can even help you because you might be able to send like a Mystic Piper or whatever, and then you bring it back. So that's fine. Okay, now we're gonna get into like what we use like with the rank up cards. So Raid Raptor Fiend Eagle, we get him out with Lastrix, and then if you have the Dark rank up card, the Phantom Knights card, you just go into Evil Swarm Ophion. So this is really good, and I was profiling this in my last profile. I had this in here. So the main reason, like. Another reason why I took out the Envoys that I was playing since the last profile is because if I have Ophion, I just wanted to make sure that like I wouldn't have a single card that I'd be trying to get out that would really jack that up. I mean, Wing Creeper level 10, technically, that kind of screws it up, but I could always get that out before I go into this. But yeah, there's a really good card. While he has material, neither player can special summon level 5 or higher monsters, so that is really good. Yeah, and he gets this card as material, and I believe he gets the Dark Rank Up card goes on as material as well, so he'd have 2 materials. And if you absolutely wanted to play the Infestation Spell or Trap, you could, I just don't. So, Raid Raptor Revolution Falcon, so if you have the Phantom Knights card, you could get out Big Eye, which I was looking for things, and I think I had something else in here, but like Big Eye is just fine. Like most of the things that would probably give you problems in the game, if you took control of it, there goes the problem. So it's like Big Eye is always a good option. And then if you had the Raid Raptor rank up card, you could just go into Satellite Cannon, which can blow up all your opponent's spell and trap cards, and then they can't react to them as well. So that's really good. And then if you had the rank up card and you wanted to do a bigger play, you go into him, and then you rank up on top of with Ultimate Falcon. Ultimate Falcon's a great card. It's unaffected by the card effects. I don't really ever use the first effect, which says you can detach and your opponent's monsters will lose 1,000. But the main thing is during the end phase, if your opponent doesn't have a face-up monster, they're going to take 1,000 damage. If they do have a face-up monster, that monster is going to lose 1,000 attack. So the main thing you want to do is make sure that they don't have face-up monsters. Start, wiping out your opponent's board, and then that burn damage is going to set in real quick. And because Lastrix says your opponent takes no battle damage, this card's effect of taking burn damage still kicks in, which is good. But I play 2 Ultimate Falcons because The one is for like that rank up play that I just showed you. The second one is in case you have, if you just have the Raid Raptor alone with no rank up card, you just Lastrix, Trib, summon this out, and then Seven Sins can be played over any rank 10 or 11 Dark XYZ monster. And he's got 4,000, and if he would be destroyed, period, you can just detach the material instead. So he's a one-time, like he can prevent himself from being destroyed. Great card, and yeah, just cool stuff. And then the last card is a number 99 Utopic Dragon that we get out, like I said, with anytime you can make a rank 1, you go into Roots, and then if you have a rank up card in your hand, you can just discard that, go into Utopic Dragon. I believe if he would try to be targeted, you can just, like, negate that. Yeah, targets his face-up card. Yeah, you can just negate it. But, yeah, that's pretty much... Oh, negate and destroy the card that's trying to target it. Yeah, but he's 4,000, and he's a really good card and easy to get out. So that's it for the deck profile. That was 20 minutes long. Sorry I went that long, but I just kind of like explaining my choices. But, yeah, I really love the deck. The deck is really fun, and it really never gets stale, and I love all the options you can do with the deck. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and if you can make a level 1 deck like that, go for it. Yeah, this is Chris at Casual Yu-Gi-Oh! Signing out. Have a good one.